Hey, Model Anarchist here. Normally I find this type of topic a little bit below me, but I found I have a lot of non-anarchist subscribers, and I think this would really help them to understand the basic principles of anarchy. To help get attention from non-anarchists, this picture will be littered with lewd pictures of me, so just a warning, and welcome to the primer on anarchy. First thing we have to sort out is that a lot of people have misconceptions of what anarchy is. Most people confuse it with anomy. Anomy is the absence of rules or laws, not anarchy. The next thing you have to realize is anarchism is not a positive term. It's not a belief system. Many anarchists try to make it one, but if they do, call them on their bullshit. Anarchism is just like atheism. It simply describes what someone does not believe in. Anarchism is a political view just as much as not collecting stamps is a hobby. Now that we know that anarchism is a negative term and that it is not chaos, let us proceed on to what anarchism is. Anarchist comes from the Greek word archos. Archos being a leader, and being without. Anarchism, without a leader. Basically, an anarchist is anyone that believes no one has a legitimate right of authority over anyone else. A state is a group of people who claim legitimate authority over a given area and the people within it. They also claim the authority of monopoly power when it comes to justice and the legitimate use of violence. Therefore, anarchists do not believe in the existence of the state and the authority that it claims. Now, to be clear, most anarchists do actually believe in the existence of the state, but we see it as nothing more than a street gang with good PR. That is, we do not acknowledge its authority, or even that it should exist in most cases. Okay, so when I go to the grocery store to buy food, they don't feel the need to violently not allow anyone else to compete with them arbitrarily, or to steal money from me in order to provide me with this service of giving me food. I give them money, they give me food, no violence involved. It's that simple. There's no reason why this can't work for law, justice, police, that sort of thing. And in fact, a lot of times it really does work like that. It's inconsistent to say that it should. Now that we know what anarchism is, let us examine why it does not result in anomy, or chaos and the lack of laws and rules. The first thing to realize is the main thing preventing society from falling into anomy is its culture. A uncivilized culture will fall into anomy regardless of whether it has a state or not. That is to say, a violent and brutish culture will be violent with a state, and a violent and brutish culture will be violent without a state. Conversely, a civilized and non-violent culture will be civilized and non-violent with a state, or at least towards each other, and will be civilized and non-violent in the absence of a state. Now let us examine methods of behavior control in the absence of the state. There are many kinds. First is peer pressure. Very often you will not do something because your peers find it unacceptable, and you're afraid of social ostracism. That is to say, you don't want to be made fun of. Another thing worth noting is anarchism does not necessarily mean there won't be police. In anarchy, there can still be police, they just don't have the authority to tell you what to do all the time or steal money from you. It's just that they're going to only arrest you if you hurt other members of society. Now, this is not a 100% necessity. An anarchist society may or may not have police. It's irrelevant, although I feel that at the current time an anarchist society would. Now, another method for behavioral control is just rational self-interest. I'm not going to kill that woman because I'd rather kiss her. There are things that we gain from other people. I think most people actually do just enjoy the presence of other people. So a lack of even police, I think, would not send a society into anarchy. Now let us examine why a society would tend not to encourage violent, uncivilized, brutish behavior. The simple fact of life is humans are not the most physically imposing of animals. Really, we rely on other human beings for our survival, and we benefit greatly from social cooperation, that is, working with others to accomplish what we want to accomplish, to fulfill our desires. Now, even if every single person in the world hated every other person in the world, which fortunately is not the case, but let's say hypothetically it was, everyone would still be better off working together. This is due to a principle known as specialization of labor. Let's say you want to play video games, but you hate programming. I love programming. I can make video games. Where the thing is, people are all different. So I'll make your video games, but I hate painting. So you'll do the paintings because you love paintings. But let's say we all like things the same, which is not the case, but let's say it was. Then we still benefit from specialization of labor because it takes hours and hours of learning time to learn how to make a video game competently, where it takes hours and hours of practice to make a painting properly. So we all have more time to do and invest in our specialized crafts. So in a primitive society, this could be summed up as, I'll do the hunting, you make the arrows. Now, even if I could make the arrows, wouldn't be a good investment of my time. Even if I knew how to make the arrows, I still have to learn where to get the best wood from. And that just take lots and lots of time. That time could be better spent with me working out, and then you can find out where to get that wood from, and I'll give you the meat, you give me the arrows. It works much better for everyone involved. Now that we understand the basics of anarchy, and we understand why it does not necessarily result in anarchy, let's learn a little bit more about anarchism. There are many, many different types of anarchists, and many of these different types of anarchists disagree with each other very, very much. When you add a adjective or noun preceding anarchy, it usually becomes a positive political view, instead of simply just describing what you don't believe in. For example, I am a market anarchist, although I kind of don't consider that a political view either, although that's a discussion for a later date. I think I've covered most of the important basics at this point, although it's important to realize there's a lot more I could have talked about, and I did a particularly crappy job talking about specialization of labor. So just to let you guys know, there's lots and lots of other great videos around on Anarchy, and lots of other videos that can teach you a lot more about the specialization of labor. This was just kind of a primer to let everyone know where we as anarchists stand, because the term is so misunderstood. It's not chaos, it's not violence, it's not every man for himself like everyone thinks. Alright, thanks for watching.